welcome, and on today's episode we're going to be visiting Abbey, which is an ancient Roman site here in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, and here's an image of what we're going to be looking at today. This is an English heritage site that was discovered many years ago, and this is what we're going to be looking at today, Ancient Alternative View. Haughmond Abbey in its entirety, from an aerial view. With all the prowess and Roman walls, we're stood along top and alongside the top, which runs all the way across and down the woods, and you're looking in onto the Abbey itself now. So this is our approach to Haughmond Abbey in Shrewsbury, and we're going to show you us driving down to the front entrance of it today, and we hope you enjoy the images that you see. What a fantastic building this is. Can you imagine Roman legions coming down this road towards the Abbey? Well, today on our show we're going to be showing you as close as possible to the ruins as we can. We hope you enjoy today, Ancient Alternative View. All the very best. Welcome all on the Ancient Alternative View. We're now walking closely towards the Abbey. Got some fantastic images up close of the stonework here. As you know, I'm a massive fan of it. Andrew's going to be loving that up above there. Not quite our nubs, but we've got the square fixture holes that are on the header here. And look at that, just above the door there, above the archway. Wow. Is that what I think it is, Andrew? Over 2 blocks. Wow. Fantastic. And this is the middle part of the Abbey. Absolutely huge. I've just done the initial part with my beautiful wife. Sat down, and we're taking as many videos and images as we can today for you to look around. It's wonderful Abbey, still kept in beautiful condition. It's my little man. You can all say hello, Ancient Alternative View. Say hi, Ronnie James. And there we go.
Haughmond Abbey is a ruined 12th century Augustinian abbey in a lovely setting in Shropshire. The abbey roots go back to the 11th century when a small religious community was established there. Around 1135 the community was refounded as a house of Augustine canons under the patronage of William FitzAlan of Clun, and finally in 1155 it became a fully fledged abbey. The first church of Haughmond was built around 1150. This was later replaced by the current church, which dates in part from the 12th to the 14th centuries. The late 12th century chapter house still stands, as does the 13th century infirmary, the Frater Undercroft, and parts of the warming house and daughter. The 14th century well house also remains. After the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VIII, the abbey eventually passed to the ownership of the Barker family, who tore down the church and dormitory range and converted the east range and southern cloister into a mansion. The mansion was thus destroyed during the Civil War. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Ancient Alternative View. I hope you've enjoyed the live stuff that we've recorded for you today. Now, why am I showing you this archway at Haughmond Abbey with this ugly mug in front of it? Well, if we zoom in a little bit closer and scroll up above my head on looking at this, if we have a look here, can you see the small filler stone? We see these in South America, Peruvian examples. We see them in Egypt. We see them worldwide, to be quite honest with you. Spoiler alert, my good friend Andrew at Ancient History Criticisms is doing a video, nudge wink, shortly on this phenomenon. So I'd like you to go and have a look at that. And also on our travels, as we were going around, I'd like to point out on this photo here, if we zoom in, again you're having to look at me, I do apologise, but look at this keystone cut here. Now obviously this is up-to-date reworkings, modern brick and so on and so forth. You can see the older work here, but is this not indicative of the keystone cuts that we see in Egypt, South America, Indonesia, India, you name an ancient site, they have these there. Now, wouldn't there have been another block here with one on? Well, this was actually a kitchen in the abbey, and this screams out to me that it's come from a different site. Now, I might be wrong, I am at times, but that is a keystone cut from a more ancient megalithic block to me. Now, also on our travels around the abbey, searching all the stonework from the thousands of photos that we took on our journey, next to myself here you can see a nubbed block. Now, it's not quite as refined as some of the others that we'd see at maybe the Athens Acropolis, or maybe circular as the Egyptian examples at the Menkaure Pyramid or on the Portcullis, but this version is very square. Now, I'd like to point out also that there's lots and lots of square fixtures. We get those at Baalbek. We get them all over the ancient world, to be honest with you. They could be fixture holes, but it's not very often on an 11th or 12th century abbey that we see a nubbed block. Now, why aren't they on every single block? Is it indicative that this abbey was built from a more ancient megalithic site? Could well have been. I'd love to hear your opinions, ancient alternative view. Now, another hallmark that we came across that I'd like to show you is a lozenge etched in to one of these blocks. Now, a compatriot and great friend of mine, Dave at Uchronia Utopia, he's a brother to me. He's taught me this hallmark, and it goes back a minimum of 75,000 years to Blombus Caves. And there we go. We find one here on an abbey in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, from the Roman era, later Roman era might I add, on an abbey in, well, its greatest form. Now, is this a lozenge on a worn block, or is it just 3 lines, 4 lines? I'll leave that down to you to decide. It's down to interpretation, your opinion, but 3 of our main hallmarks on an abbey from the 11th to 12th century, and there is no earliest maker's mark for this abbey. No one can decidedly say exactly when it was built. Yes, repurposed, I do agree with you, but when exactly was it built? If we're finding lozenges, and we're also finding nubbed blocks, and that's distinguishably a nub on that block. What about also the keystone cuts that we're finding there, that we find all over the ancient world? And pardon again, you're looking at myself, but that filler stone right there that we see all over the ancient world. Now, it shocked me when I studied these blocks and found some of these. You can tell the different eras of make, you can tell the different builders, you can tell that some of these blocks are repurposed from a different era. It may be a slightly polygonal nature to the blocks also. I'd love to hear your views, ancient alternative view. I'd like to also introduce you all to the photographer and videographer of the ancient alternative view. This is Sam CHECKLEY. She is my wife to be, and my beautiful son, the heir to the ancient alternative view throne. Sam is a fantastic photographer and a fantastic videographer, and she's taken many of the photos and videos that you've seen today, and I'd like to welcome her to the ancient alternative view. She puts up with me on a regular basis, as you would know. Notice these steps here, remind you of the Egyptian ones. Certainly looks repurposed compared to the walls, but there we go. There's Sam again, and she's going to be joining me on my travels around the ancient world. And if you look at some of the quality of the stonework photography and photos that we've had today around Haughmond Abbey, it's very thankful to her that we've got the quality that we have. I mean, look at that. She's got such a fantastic eye for great hallmarks, and there you go with the keystone cut again. And it's very nice to have her with me on my travels, and we'll be going away many times now to do ancient episodes and try and get you the best images and the best stonework footage of maybe the Roman era in Great Britain, but also on our travels around the world when we join NEXT, possibly in Egypt soon, and look at the nubs at the Menkaure pyramid, and also go and travel abroad to find the nubs at over 70 of the different sites that Andrew at Ancient History Criticisms, Ziggy Dan, Guy and Shermanator Osborne, the new members of the team, ENDEVOURS Wake and Trevor. Thank you very much to Shermanator Osborne for all he does, and thank you to all the team for all their hard work and the specialists that we have there. Massive thank you to Dave at Uchronia Utopia and Josh as well for all your help, of which without I wouldn't be getting as far as I am today, so I thank you very much indeed. Huge shout out to Michael over at Lost History Channel. He needs no big up from me, but his latest series on the Squatter Man is absolutely mind-blowing and second to none, may I add. So I thank him very much for all his hard work and also his collaboration on the nub language and the nub phenomenon that him and I did together. Some of the detailed work that we found here at Haughmond Abbey was absolutely spectacular. The different eras of stonework, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me today at the Ancient Alternative View. It's been a while since we've made an episode due to unforeseen circumstances, but thank you very much indeed for watching.